Today is Tuesday, November 2025. As if you look down here, we are 4 hours away from our first poll closings in Virginia. But first, this election has major consequences for the Republican Party. This will be our first judgment of how voters feel on the Trump administration and how they are doing. But it is important to look at the Senate map. Right now, congressional Democrats are leading by 3.6. If we are to apply that margin on the 2024 map, we see that Sherrod Brown almost wins Ohio. Pennsylvania is not up for re-election. See that here. But if we are seeing a massive swing, like it's not really a massive swing, but if we're seeing the tiniest of tiny little shifts to the left, Democrats can't. They simply can't win the majority back. When Kamala Harris was winning the state of Minnesota by 4, Amy Klobuchar was winning it by 15. Potentially, if we assume a universal shift of 3.6 points, we are going to see a map close to something like this. What is that margin? Ooh, okay. New Jersey might be no, it's lean. Roy Cooper, the governor of North Carolina, is an extremely popular candidate. He can obviously win this election. I feel like he has this in the bag. Maybe around like four to 3-ish points. Jon Ossoff, assuming that, like I said, there's a universal Democratic shift at 3.6 points. He should be able to easily win this race from a wider margin than he did in 2001. And if Democrats are making these kind of gains, South Carolina is still an almost solid state. Florida is still an almost solid state. Maine I find really interesting because there's been recent scandals about that. This is everywhere about Graham Plattner's tattoo. But both candidates, I really feel that are not really qualified to take Susan Collins' seat. I still think this election, whoever it is, Janet Mills or Graham Plattner, they could win. It would be a nail biter, but ultimately, I think Susan Collins runs away with it. Iowa, ever since Joni Ernst withdrawed from the race and she wasn't seeking re-election from her comments saying we're all gonna die, she was extremely unpopular, and so that she had to quit her job. Whoever the Democratic or the Republican nominee, I feel like the Republican is set to win this race. New Mexico, this is a reliably Democratic state. It was way more competitive in 2024 when Harris won it by 6 points. It'll most likely be on the 13 to 14 points, pushing solid. But Texas over here, I find very interesting. If James Tallarico runs, in my opinion, he is the best is the best Democrat to win this race. And if there's a shift of 3 points, this could really narrow down. And if Ken Paxton is the Republican nominee, I can see this race getting really, really, really tight. Not so much so that the Democrat could win, but if Tellerico has a disadvantage because he's obviously a Democrat running in the state of Texas. Texas has never voted for a Democrat in the 21st century, never. Ever since, this may be wrong, but memory, maybe Jimmy Carter versus Gerald Ford. That, I think that was the last time a Texas voted blue. But still, this election could be very close. Alaska, kind of the same thing. If Mary Patola runs, she was to go back to 2022. This was her. 10%. 10%. She has a clear track record of victory. I'm not really one to admire Chuck Schumer, but if she runs, that is an incredible accomplishment on his part. And if she wins, wow. But I see this race right now. She hasn't really declared her candidacy in the race. So I'm going to put Alaska near the 5 to 14 point margin, which I don't think it's going to be that high of a margin. I would say if Mary Patola does end up running, not for governor, she's showing interest in running for the Senate, but it's not a 100% guarantee. I still think Republicans win Senate control, but let's explore a path where Democrats do actually end up winning the Senate. It would have to go through Maine, obviously, North Carolina, obviously, Georgia, obviously, Nebraska. Sorry, this should be a closer state with Dan Osborne, the independent. But the pathway would have to go through Ohio with Sherrod Brown and most likely Texas by the slimmest of slim margins. Just because the map works against the National Democratic Party doesn't mean that we should rule out this scenario. If Democrats can drive up a turnout from 3 to 7, potentially even double digits, this could be a possibility. I want to see if I could find it here, but Senate, past elections, 18. Beto O'Rourke won. He didn't win, but Cruz won this by 2.6%. I'm not saying that Democrats will win the popular vote by 58%, but if Democrats can get something of a result like this map can become more possible, especially when Trump's approval rating is constantly decreasing. A poll, today or yesterday, said that Trump was at minus 60 and he had something like a 39% approval rating. That's the core MAGA base. And that base isn't really motivated to vote unless Trump's name is on the ballot, and he shouldn't be on the ballot unless he's running for a third term, but this map becomes way, way, way more likely if Republicans are demoralized and the moderate wing of the party doesn't turn out to vote, that pays more attention to elections because of the government shutdown, the 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 recent scandal with SNAP benefits, and a whole other range of factors that we cannot measure, like the weather, what it's going to be on election day, what is the voter feeling, how will this affect the election. We have no idea. This is a year out from now. I just wanted to talk about this now because all these elections that these states are holding in less than 3 hours will be a massive referendum on. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. I might do a video about that after this, but also I want to bring attention to whether I should stream the election results happening in 3 hours and 30 minutes. I'm 50-50 on whether I should stream or not. If you're signed into YouTube, please vote for this poll if you're watching this video. I would want to know what you think, and maybe comment down on the poll, maybe saying what outlet you would want to watch while I'm live streaming. So yeah, make sure you keep your eyes out. Make sure you keep on it in these elections. Stay engaged. Wait until 2026. Vote. That's the most important thing. And goodbye.